So yeah, this is the $0 uncapped game at the Peppermill Casino in Reno. And
So this is the no blind game, right? Or the one
yeah,
blind game.
single blind game. Yeah,
05, which came about from the pandemic, and then they never changed it back or something.
exactly. Yeah,
Weird shit. Okay.
it is weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am about $1,800 effective,
Okay.
and we're doing a $10 winner straddle. That's kind of almost every table's been doing that
Okay.
every night lately, so
Okay.
it's really catching on.
So that's like a rock straddle where it goes in order, right? Whoever wins puts a straddle in, then it goes in order
Yeah.
to the left. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, there's still under the guns first to act.
Oh, so it doesn't go in order then.
No, yeah, it's
Okay.
just the winner straddles, but yeah, it's a little different.
Okay.
So there's a $10 winner straddle in the early position, and there's one limp, and then the hijack makes it $40. I'm in the cutoff, and I have King of Spades and Jack of Spades.
Okay.
And this is a pretty call happy table, so I think it makes sense to kind of get aggressive and play this in position. So I 3-bet to 120.
Okay, so what, the straddle is like in mid position and acts last? Is that what happens? It goes in order and skips the straddle or something?
It skips the straddle unless it's raised. So if people limp, it goes past the straddle, but if someone raised early, he would act first.
Okay, all right, so 120 here. Yeah, obviously I like the 3-bet. You want to drive out, obviously extra dead money out there. The guy opens to 40. Okay.
Yeah, so it folds all the way back around to the hijack, and he calls.
And your head's up?
Yes.
Okay.
So the flop comes 10 of spades, 9 of clubs, and 3 of diamonds.
Okay, so you've got, looks like overcards, backdoor flush draw, gut shot here to a queen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so, obviously I don't hit the board hard, but I have some back doors,
Yep.
and I think it's equally possible my villain could really miss this. So I think it makes sense to c-bet $100.
So check, and hero bets 100 into like 250. I mean, you can get away with even probably going smaller than that, but I have no problem with the bet here. I mean, just as long as it's not like a totally straightening board where there's a lot of 2-pair represented, that's fine. And, I'd rather have your hand than probably like ace king here. I mean, in terms of backdoor. So, okay, so you bet 100.
Yeah, that's a good point. He checks first. I bet 100, and he calls.
Okay, call. So now it looks like the pot's probably something like, what, 450-ish or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So the turn is a 7 of spades.
7 of spades. Okay, so you pick up a backdoor flush draw and also a double gutter, which some people might not see. I mean, I would see it because I'd be counting the different backdoors that I have. But you have a double gutter here. Now you have a 15 out draw versus 1 pair, right? To an 8 to a queen and spades.
Yes. And this is where a really important note should be said is I have a few drinks in me, and I never really play drunk. So I'm a bit compromised.
Okay.
So because of that, in the moment, I thought I just had a gut shot to the 8 and a flush draw. I did not realize I was double gutted.
So you didn't actually realize that you had a gut shot on the flop or whatever. When you get to the turn, you think you just have a gut shot, but you see the flush draw. Is that what it is?
Yeah, exactly. I know I have a flush and I have a gut shot. I missed that I already had a gut shot on the flop.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not in the best state.
And that's not like, I mean, even if you're not in the best state, sometimes I've missed these. I mean, it's rare, but I see it all the time, actually. I've seen it a lot in commentary where somebody might miss it. I mean, it's a little weird hidden one. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So my plan on the flop was any good card for me on the turn. I was going to barrel. This is about as good as it can get.
And you're
to
probably
me.
just thinking spade. Oh, wow. Good spade.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, spade. And so I was happy with the turn. So I size up pretty big and go 400.
All right. So check, hero 400. And obviously you could actually overbet. Well, it's interesting. I mean, you pick up a lot of equity and the turn doesn't really connect all that much. And people might be like, oh, what about like Jack 8? But that shouldn't be, this would, this is kind of a definition of where like the difference between you opening from like cutoff or button and big blind defending, and then you picking up this draw versus in a 3-bet pot where the 7 doesn't really connect as much with the ranges. So I think you'd be, allowed to do full pot. big betting here quite a bit. Okay, so you bet 300, 400.
400, and this is where it gets pretty interesting. So the villain snap min raises, but it's such a quick. He just reaches out a stack of black. It almost looks like a call because it's not a lot, and the dealer thinks it's a call.
Okay.
But he checks, and it's actually a min raise to 850.
So he raises to 850.
Yeah.
But you think you think he did it intentionally though?
He's a pretty competent player. I think he did because the dealer said that looks like a call, and he said no, it's not. So yeah, I think he knew that he had 850 there. I guess, but he seemed to know that it wasn't a call, and dealer checked, it wasn't a call, but it was close. It was definitely looked like a call just because it happened pretty quickly.
Well, this is interesting because here's the thing. Like, if he had just called, the pot would have been like right around 1250, and you guys would have had like right around a pot size bet left. Now, when you bet 4 into 450 and he makes it 850, the pot's like 17. It's 350 for you to call, right, or 450 for you to call. So, but the thing is that looks like you only have about 800 left, which is fine. I would just take my equity here because in a 3-bet pot against a min raise here, a huge spew I think would be to 3-bet jam here. Anybody in the live chat, there is almost no fold equity. I can almost never see the hijack check raise folding here with this action when he goes to 850. I think he has a strong hand. He probably flipped a set. So just take your equity.
Right.
Take your equity. You've got like 800 behind. This is awesome because, the pot's 1600, 450 for you to call, plus you can win another 800. You're getting more than direct price right now. So I would definitely call.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The way I see it is if I hit, I'm definitely getting paid. And there's no reason to, I agree it'd be an overplay to go over the top. So I call.
Okay, so you call and you put 1700 in on the turn, 2150, right around maybe 2250 to 2300, something like that. Or maybe 2300. And you've got about 950, 800 left, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the river comes the queen of diamonds.
Wow, nice card. But so you make the nuts, but obviously because you just said on the turn that you didn't know, this seems like something's going to happen here because you didn't really know that was one of your outs. Is that right?
That is correct, unfortunately.
Okay.
So the river, the villain immediately snap jams.
Okay, so V1 jams.
And
obviously, if you notice that you have the nuts, it's a snap call.
Exactly. Yes, but in the moment, just in my head, I was just thinking spade or eight. Didn't see either. I thought I whiffed. So my plan, believe it or not, was I was gonna, Hollywood a little and then fold.
Okay.
So I take about not too long, but maybe 30 to 40 seconds. And I look back down and kind of look at the board, and then it hits me that oh shit, I have the nuts. So immediately,
well, I will say because people always say, well, why do people double check their cards? Well, what about 1 in every 10,000 that you I didn't notice here. So now you notice that you have the nuts after 30 or 40 seconds. Okay.
Yeah. So right away I say, I look at him, I'm like, I'm so sorry, I have the nuts, and I turn over and I call.
Hero calls after 30 seconds. Okay.
And he's very upset.
Okay.
Understandably.
I
think an important detail on this too is this villain was having a really bad night. I think his first hand, he ran kings and aces, got stacked, lost it. He's not having a good night already.
So what did he say to you?
He said a few things. Again, I was pretty inebriated in the moment. But it's like, what the hell, yelling. It wasn't horrible, but he was visibly upset and mad at me. Understandably, I think.
So he thinks you slow rolled him.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So here comes my diatribe here on slow rolls. Okay. You don't usually see this in Hold'em. Okay, but I've seen it many, many times in PLO. I've even seen it in '08 tournaments too. Okay, a slow roll to me. And I think I have a pretty good gauge at this, is what Dylan did to Garrett from several months ago. Everybody knows that, right? Where he was obviously he said good call, even though he knew he had the best hand. He was just loading up for Garrett for a slow roll like he had just planned it. That was a slow roll that was intentional, that he had malice, that he was trying to slow roll. If you ever watch the Monday Night Hustler game, they sort of needle each other by slow rolling. It's sort of allowed. But a slow roll can't be a slow roll when your opponent, or in this case the hero, had no intention of slow rolling the other guy. Now, if you want to define a slow roll as a slow call no matter what, fine. That's not how I define a slow roll. A slow roll is with malice. The way that we do poker terminology is that if somebody slow rolled me, they had a hand where they had the nuts or they were going to call and they were trying to like get me off my game or tilt me by taking too long and making it seem like I was going to win the hand, like Dylan did by saying good call, okay? But when your opponent doesn't know that they have the best hand and then they go and find it, it's not a slow roll. It's not a slow roll. The guy has to know. And I remember something too where in PLO, this happened with a subscriber too, and she was quite upset at the opponent, and I had to sit her down, and I was like, this lady, I said, she accurately sort of described what happened in the hand where the guy didn't know that he had the nuts, and the guy was also a subscriber. And they both independently emailed me in about the spot because the guy was like, he didn't know that she had emailed me in. And he was like, this CLP subscriber thought that I slow rolled her. I didn't know I had the nuts. I apologized. And she was like, that's a slow roll. You slow rolled me. It's not a slow roll when your opponent doesn't know. So I don't know what to tell you for this guy. Obviously, it made you seem, I mean, you were obvious about to the guy that like you didn't see it, right? You apologized. You had no malice intent, right?
Yeah, right away. And I'm a regular there. And there's a few people at the table who kind of vouch for me too. Like he would never do that on purpose. And I think the worst part is the river. He had pocket queens, so he also thought he rivered the nuts.
Oh, he had pocket. Well, so he min raised the turn with pocket queens. Wow, that's interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
I actually would have thought he was stronger than that. It's interesting if you ever 3-bet all in there. That's like the bottom part, man. That's crazy that he check min raised. I don't know what he's doing against an overbet sizing with this SPR. Why didn't he just jam? It just doesn't make any sense. It's really strange.
It could be a see where I'm at thing maybe because I was playing pretty.
And he's gonna fold if you jam for 700 or 800 more, getting like 4.5 to 5 to 1.
I don't see how he could, but that's the only explanation.
I mean, that's of course inevitably the problem with making like a min raise with a hand like that, because now you're just pricing a draw in, and you're opening, you're exposing your stack, and you're giving the guy implied odds.
Yeah. If he had just jammed, he would have probably got me off the hand for sure.
I don't know, but how can you fold? How if he jams, how do you fold there? I mean, you only need just under 2 to 1. I mean, even you'd have 13 outs at worst, right?
Well, double gut in the flush, but I think at the time just a gut shot in the flush, 3x. I don't know.
Oh, because you thought it was just like you didn't know your hand. Yeah, right. I get you.
At the moment.
Yeah, that is interesting. But I appreciate the call. Thank you very much, Evan. Nothing like a slow roll to set us off here, to set my blood boiling here for the night.